Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, Sloka 66, Part 70. Sarva-dharmān parityajya, ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja, ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo, mokṣayiṣyāmi śucaḥ. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. In the previous session, we listed around 14 different types of offenses that one may commit to a Vaishnava. Of all those 14, the base one is Janma Nirupanam, judging someone by his birth. Generally judging one by their knowledge, whether this person has a knowledge or not, or whether this person practices or not, whether this person related to someone or not, whether this person is a donor or not, whether this person does a right profession or not. All these plays secondary role. Actually, when we call someone as a devotee, all the other things are included by default. That he is knowledgeable, he has good association, he is charitable, he practices devotional service, etc. But the Janma part is not included in any of these things, because whether he is born in a high class family or not, he can be called as a devotee. Everything else can be changed in a devotee life. If he doesn't have a good friendship with good people, that can be changed. He may start getting good association. If someone doesn't have a proper spiritual knowledge, that can be gained. If someone doesn't practice devotional service, that can also be adapted. But what cannot be changed is his birth. However he was born, that can never be changed later. No one is born as a devotee, but as a human. Very exceptional cases like Bhakta Prahlad, who are born as devotees. A son of a devotee cannot become a devotee by default. He has to practice and develop bhakti. A son of a Brahmana cannot be a Brahmana just by birth itself. He must study the Vedas and recite Vedas. Likewise, the Kshatriya's son cannot become a Kshatriya. Vaishya's son cannot become a Vaishya by default. All of them needs to get qualified even though their birth was Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya. Also, just because someone is born as a Brahmana, that doesn't qualify that person to attain moksha by default. One must earn that by their practices. It is like we give a house key to someone, and when the person opens the door, he sees there is no couch, there is no table, there is no TV, there is no kitchen items, nothing. But he was given a key to enter the house. Now it is this person's responsibility to make that apartment a living house. Likewise, our previous karma has given a certain type of birth. A Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Sudra. That is just a key. But then it is that person's responsibility now make necessary arrangement to fulfill that birth as a Brahmana, as a Kshatriya, as a Vaishya, as a Sudra. Someone to be called as a Bhakta, a devotee, a Vaishnava, one must have the Panchayata, the 5 weapons marked on one's body. Number 2, one must have gone through the Pancha Samskara, Thapa, pundra tatha nama mantraha yagacha panchamaha. We covered this when we did the process of initiation. Number 3, one must have panchartha jnana, prapyasya brahmano rupam, prapstuscha pratyagatmanaha, praptupayam palam chaiva, tata prapti virodhicha. One must know about the absolute truth. One must know about the self. One must know the upayam, the means to attain the supreme absolute abode. One must know what are the virodhis, enemies that is stopping one to attain the Supreme Lord. Number 4, one must know phalam, what is the benefit, what is the end result, what is the goal that one needs to attain. And number 5, what is that virodhis which is stopping us from proceeding to attain the Supreme Lord. So, number 1, panchayitam. Number 2, panchasamskaram. Number 3, panchartha jnanam. Number 4, panchopaya nishtaha. That is the 5th upayam, acharya abhimana. That must be the only upaya that one must hold on to. And number 5, varnāṇaṁ panchamaha ashramanam. The 5th ashram, that is being a Vishnu Bhakta. Even if one doesn't belong to any of the 4 classes, 4 varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, one is still considered Vishnu Bhakta. All the other 4 are based on the birth, whereas the 5th class, Panchamaha, is not based on birth, it is based on one's bhakti. In the 4 classes, varnas, there are possible problem which is ahaṁkara, ego, whereas in the 5th class there is no ego at all. There is no any sort of identification to get ego in the 5th class. In Sri Vishnu Purana it is said, ekanti vyapadishtavyah naiva grama kuladibhi vishnuna vyapadishtavyah tasya sarvam sayevahi. A person whose surrendered soul should not be identified by his native village, by his family background, by his birth, etc. And it is asking us back the question, is he not known by his relationship with Vishnu? For such a person, everything such as native village, his family, his knowledge, his practices, everything is Vishnu, Vishnu alone. So this sloka from Vishnu Purana very clearly states that a devotee should not be identified by any other means. The only identification that he has is that his relationship with Krishna. For him, his native place is Krishna. His knowledge is Krishna. His relative is Krishna. His wealth is Krishna. There's another statement which says, Nasudra bhavat bhaktaha vipra bhahavata smitaha. Shudras are also bhavat bhaktas. Do not say they are not. They are equal to Vipras, a learned Pandita. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Yasya yal lakshanam proktam pumsaha varna avyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyate tat tenaiva vinirdishet. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Another quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam again, Nalam dvijatvam devatvam rishitvam vasuratmajaha prinanaya mukundasya navritam nabhahunyata na dhanam na tapaha nidya na saucham na vritani cha priyate amalaya bhaktya harir anyat vidambhanam. You cannot please the Supreme personality of Godhead by becoming perfect Brahmana, a demigod, a great saint, or by becoming perfectly good in etiquette and vast learning. None of these qualifications can awaken the pleasure of the Lord, nor by charity, austerity, sacrifice, cleanliness, or vows can one satisfy the Lord. The Lord is pleased only if one has unflinching, unalloyed devotion to Him. Without sincere devotional service, everything is simply a show. So this is another beautiful point that is made by Srimad Bhagavatam. But that doesn't mean that one should not have good qualities, one should not have austerities, one should not do charity, one should not have knowledge, one should not have cleanliness. One must only have unalloyed, unflinching devotion. That is not the message here. The message is, even if you have everything else but you don't have bhakti, then those things are waste. But if you have bhakti, everything else will automatically be part of that devotion, that bhakti. So let's not understand differently what the sloka says. The point here is to emphasize on the bhakti. So what makes a person to be a bhakta? The pancha ayutam embossed on one's body. Nowadays we don't see that's happening, but there is a representation of those things during the initiation. We covered this one during our pancha samskara sessions. Number 2, pancha samskara itself. Number 3, panchartha jnana. Number 4, panchopaya nishta. Number 5, panchama varnam, that is being a Vishnu Bhakta irrespective of whatever birth one takes. And number 6 is panchakala parayanaha, that is dividing a day into 5 parts and performing devotional service. Abhigamanam, upadhanam, ijya, swadhyaya, yoga. We have also covered this in detail when we did 8th chapter, part 3. Also in Vishnu Dharma, it says, who is called as true sage, who must be glorified as a great bhakta. It lists out 8 items. Devatānaṁ ca mantre ca tata mantra prade guru bhaktir ashtavidha yasya tasya krishna prasidhate tat bhaktajana vatsalyam pujanam chanumodanam sumana archaye nityam tadarte dhambavarjanam tat kata shravane ragas tadarte chaga vikriya tadanusmaran nityam yastan namopajivati bhaktir ashtavidha hi esha yasmin milicha api vartate sa munihi satyavadi cha kirtiman sabhaven naraha. Let's see what are those 8 items which makes a person to be a great sage, a great bhakta. This says that Krishna is satisfied with the one who is engaged in bhakti in 8 ways, dedicated to the Lord, his mantra, and the Guru who gave the mantras. Number 1, being kind to Krishna devotees. Number 2, honoring and pleasing Krishna. Number 3, regularly worshipping Krishna with a pure mind. Number 4, renouncing hypocrisy. Number 5, being attached to hearing narrations about Krishna. Number 6, engaging one's body, including hands, legs, eyes, etc., in service of Krishna. Number 7, constantly meditating upon Krishna. And number 8, accepting Krishna's name as one's very life. These are 8 kinds of bhakti which even if a malicha, a barbarian, can adapt, he can become a great sage and a glorious among men. Bhaktir ashtavidhayi esha yasmin milichapi vartate sa munihi satyavadi cha kirtiman sabhaven naraha. Therefore, the glories of a devotee has no limits. The Lord descended into this world to uplift Yadukula Vamsa as Lord Krishna. The Lord descended into the material world to uplift the Bhumi in the form of Varahadev. Likewise, the Lord descended into this world as Acharyas to uplift the low-born and fallen souls. So the Acharyas are appeared into this world by the will of the Lord. If someone is fallen from a first floor, one can easily recover them. If someone is fallen from the 10th floor, an extra effort is needed. If someone is fallen from the 100th floor, it's going to be quite a challenge. Likewise, if someone is born as a Brahmana, there are chances to uplift them. Likewise, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and so forth. But what about those who are born lower than any of these varnas? Chandalas, Malechas. For that reason, Lord descended into this world in the form of Acharyas. It is not necessary only by birth. That is not what is being emphasized here. In one sense it is. But whoever has low by character, behavior, religious practices, in spiritual understanding, that means it includes Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Chandala, anyone. Anyone can be fallen or low by these things, and they all need upliftment. Therefore, the Acharyas and Gurus, Goswamis, Alvars, they all have appeared. Understanding that we cannot simply categorize them, the great souls, based on their birth. Janma Nirupanam cannot be done for such great souls who simply descended into this world on the will of the Lord to uplift the fallen conditioned souls. It is not necessary the great souls are all Brahmanas. There are non-Brahmanas as well. For example, Alvars. All the Alvars are not Brahmanas. There are few Brahmanas and many of them are non-Brahmanas. If all the Alvars were only Brahmanas, then it would have sent a message to us that only Brahmanas could attain moksha. If it is only non-Brahmanas, then the message we get is no Brahmanas can be Bhaktas. Being born as a Brahmana, one may have ahankara. If there is ahankara, then there is no bhakti. If no bhakti, then no moksha. This would have been our understanding if all the great acharyas were only non-Brahmanas. Therefore, to give equal opportunity to everyone, we see in the Acharya Varga, in the category of Acharyas, Alvars and others, the mix of Janma is present to define and to pass the important message that Mukti or Vishnu Bhakti is not based on any particular birth. So, even a Brahmana can attain moksha if he does not have ahankara but has bhakti. Even a Chandala can attain moksha if he has Vishnu Bhakti. In other words, even if one is born as a Brahmana cannot attain moksha if he doesn't have bhakti, free of ahankara. And same is true, even a Chandala cannot attain moksha if he does not have Vishnu Bhakti. So what is the driving factor is not the birth, it is Vishnu Bhakti. Therefore, we see a Vaishnava based on his birth is a very dangerous offense that must be totally avoided. So under any circumstances, a devotee should not be considered lower. Even one should not consider a Bhagavata as lower than the Lord himself. It is very true that no one is equal or above, greater than the Lord. Therefore, even Bhagavatas cannot be equal to the Lord. But it is said, one must not consider Bhagavata, a devotee, lower than the Lord himself. Why? Because that is the opinion of the Lord. The Lord considers his devotees equal to him. Therefore, we cannot say anything against the opinion of the Lord, and we cannot behave differently than the opinion of the Lord. In Sundara Bahustavam by Korathālvān, there is a sloka which says, Yad jātīyaha yādrishah yad svabhavaha pādachāyāṁ samsritaha yo api ko api tat jātīyaha tādrishah tat svabhavaha slīśyate enam sundaraha vatsalatvat. Someone who is born in whatever jati, caste, however he is, whatever discipline he follows, but one who has joined your lotus feet, my Lord, out of your love towards them, you mix with them. When you mix, you don't mix as the Supreme Lord, but you choose where he is born to appear there. You choose to have similar disciplinaries like that person. You choose the same language of that person. When the Lord descended as a fish, he was one among the fishes. But we do not say Matsya as ordinary fish. When the Lord descends as a wild boar, he mingles with other boars. We do not say Varaha as an ordinary boar. Likewise, when the Bhagavata descend into this world to mingle with us, to uplift us, as per the sankalpa of the Lord, we do not consider them as an ordinary being like us. Such Bhagavatas can be born in any jati, any kulam, doesn't matter, they are all great. If someone judge a devotee, a great Bhagavata by his birth, then Pillai Lokacharya gives two analysis of how serious that matter could be. Let's understand that in our next session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.